Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest layout for Just Nick Studio using this Hexi Snow cut file. Now you may have got this cut file, it was one of the free set for December 2022. If not, they're very inexpensive in the store. So I've cut these in a variety of sizes, and I've also cut an outline, so like I've got a backing to each of them. So for this layout I'm actually going to use a Hip Kit club kit. It's an older one, it's called Big Chill, I think it was from 2021, and the paper I've chosen for the background is called Frozen Sky. So I've got an idea of having these hexagons free flowing down the page, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to place them where I would like them to go. So there was 3 different designs, so I've cut all 3 in different sizes, and I've not measured them as such, I've just resized it on the screen until so they were all different. And I've got 2 photos there of my husband and I in the snow, and I want to use those on top. So I've gone through my box of sequins, did this in front of the TV, and I picked out colours to go with the paper. And the idea in my mind is I'm going to do each of the hexagons in the colour of the paper behind it. Does that make sense? So rather than, because the cardstock is white on the background, on the solid hexagons, I'm actually coming in with some Distress Oxides and just brushing over some ink just to stop them being pure white, because there are going to be gaps in the sequins, and this way it's not going to be so I've got that wrong. It's not going to be so obvious that there's gaps. So this way, with the ink, I think it's going to work. So this is some really strong double-sided tape, so I'm sticking it to the solid hexagons and just trimming round them. So you might notice that I've left the open hexagons still on the base of the layout, because that way I can refer back to the colours. So I'm just taking off the top layer, and it's very sticky tape, so I'm just keeps getting my fingers stuck to it. So the bottom couple are like a very pale yellow, peachy, pinky. So I've already separated some sequins, as I say, into this tray. They may not all be suitable, but I was doing it, as I say, watching the TV, so I'm going to just go through them now. I'm trying to use the tweezers if I can, because I keep getting stuck to the tape, and I'm going to just fill the hexagon randomly with the colours that match the background paper. Now this may seem like a lot of work, and I suppose essentially it is, but they are going to be the star of the show for this layout, so I don't mind actually spending a little bit of time doing this. I don't know about you, but I got loads of sequins in my stash. I hadn't actually needed to buy any to do this, and when I get to the purples I do struggle a little bit, but I make do with what I own. Also, I think I had either some music or an audio book on at the same time, so actually it was just a nice peaceful time while I was sticking all these down. And sometimes that's all you need. This is what scrapbooking and crafting's about. It's nice and therapeutic, and I did enjoy just doing that. So when it came to sticking the tops down, I actually use a little bit of wet glue. Don't need any foam or anything, because the sequins actually lift the top layer off, so just some drops of wet glue would stick the tops on. So this is a bluier one. It was going to be to the side of the photo, so yet again I put the ink on the solid hexagon, and I come in with different sequins onto the tape, sticky tape, just to fill that one as well. I'm not going to show you all of them, but what I will say, the bigger ones, I don't actually fill the whole thing. I figure out where the photo is going to sit over the top, and I just put some individual sequins around the edge just to make sure that the top layer stays lifted, because obviously it takes a lot of sequins and a lot of time to fill them. So particularly for the very big one under the photo on the right, there was no point completely filling that. That would have been a waste of my time. So I don't actually complete that. But ones that have just got a little bit showing, I do fill them in. So anyway, that's enough of me sticking sequins. So these are them fully, and they're the 2, can you see, that aren't completely full, with the dark sequins just holding the tops up. Really pleased with the way they look. As I say, the blues as well aren't quite a great match, but that's okay. It's just the essence of the colours that going down the page. So I don't really want to add too much more to this, so I bring in some white tissue paper just to back these snowy photographs. So I'm just folding it a few times. I like the size of that. I'm going to just add a couple of staples to stop the layers moving around, and I'm just going to trim it round with some scissors by hand, just to give a little bit of an edge around the photograph. I was a bit cautious about the size the first time. I didn't want to cut it too tight, but actually I go back in and I give that a trim. So these photos are slightly different but the same, if that makes sense. So they'll both get the same treatment. So I'm just screwing up the tissue paper now. I know it's been stapled together, so I know it's secure, just to ruffle it up a little bit around the edges. Now I wanted to document these photographs. We don't get that much snow here in the centre of the UK. So when we did, we made the most of it, and I've got lots of photos from literally 24-hour period. And these two hadn't been scrapped before, so I thought that would be really nice to add these. And when I saw these hexagons, I thought they were really cute when they were part of the free giveaway. I think it was the 12 giveaways of Christmas that Just Nick did in December. So I definitely wanted to use this cut file. Obviously, it's so easy to resize things on your cutting machine, so easy to do something similar to this. Obviously, you can do just the outline as I did for the bases, very simple. And if you're not too sure, there's some great YouTube tutorials out there on how to use, say, a silhouette or a cricket. These are cut on a silhouette that I've got in my craft space. So I'm just making sure that one of the sets of tissue paper isn't thicker than the other, because I was too busy merrily folding and cutting, and now they're both the same. So I'm going to tuck one photo in next to the other. I don't want to cover too many sequins, so that I need to bear that in mind before I stick them down. And I'm looking now through the rest of this hip kit to see if I can find a title. And I do, and this says, "Hello Cold Days." I think that's absolutely perfect. And we're sticking it to the photo. It too doesn't cover any more of the sequins up. So I'm just having a quick check, make sure there's nothing I've missed. Now they've got some little word ephemera phrases in this pack, so I have a look through, see if there's anything. Obviously I'm still thinking colours, so I want to use colours that will complement the sequins and the waterfall effect that I've been working on so far. And I do find some. And I think there's some on the chipboard sheet as well, so I will get those used. I've just put a dark one on there, you see in that top right. Doesn't make the curve too dark, and it draws your attention too much for my liking, so it won't get stuck down. But I think there's a couple more on this sheet. I really feel that this layout is not far off being done. I think that background paper is fabulous, and therefore it's holding its own with the sequins. And I do like that one. That says, "Baby, it's cold out." It certainly was. And see, I've just moved the dark one for another one that says, "So frosty." I think a lot more complimentary. So I'm just checking whether there's anything else I've missed there that would go on top, and then I will get this all stuck down. You know me, I'm never quick to commit. It's just the way I am. But I'm really liking the way this has now all come together. So I'm just going to add these little bits to help finish it off. The bottom one that says winter, I think that's the brightest one that I actually end up using, but I'm just double checking there's nothing else. Now, these are like watery pearls. I don't know whether you've seen them, or they're like dewdrops. I'm not sure quite what they're called. I used them on a different layout recently, and it's like I rediscovered something from my stash. They were in a jam jar, and they must have been there, feels like, for years. So I've decided to pick through and add them around the hexagons. Originally I was thinking of adding some snowflakes, but because of the shape of the hexagons I didn't feel that normal snowflake shapes worked, if that makes sense. But these dewdrops, they seem to just add a little bit of something just to go with that falling down the page sort of feel. And I'm managing to pick them out in reasonable colour matches. So there is some purpley ones, lots of blue ones. I do use some clear ones as well. And then some pinky peachy yellow that I can get used at the bottom. They only take a little bit of wet glue to stick them down, and they seem to stay put really well. So I think they're a nice little addition just in between the hexagons. So that's everything stuck down. I'm going to trim the one at the top. Thank you so much for watching. This is the final image, and there's some close-ups too. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up, to subscribe to my channel. Do check out the cut files at Just Nick. They're fabulous, and there's more added to the store all the time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.